Hey, hi, hello creatives. Welcome back or to my channel. My name is Lindsay and today we are doing finally my January plan with me. I know this is going up late, but I'd rather get it out there for some inspiration for any month of the year, but this is my January. First of all, we'll dive right into my supplies. So I am using a Archer and Olive beef A5 size, an Archer and Olive acrylograph dark green pen, some Crayola super tips, a mild liner that's brown colored, and two fine liners, 0.8 and 0.3. I also, as usual, use photos from Pinterest. This is the style that I like to do, so I always go on to Pinterest. I will leave the board linked below that have all of these photos in it. And I just go into Pinterest and find a style I like that I think suits the time of year or just anything that I want to do. And I, put it all in a board and save them and print them off. So first I'm doing my cover page here, and this is going to, sometimes I put a quote on the left-hand side, sometimes I don't. This time I am going to put a quote in that craft paper there. And I struggled here to try and find like a layout or, how they all kind of come together, like these little photos here. I was struggling to try and find out a placement that I liked them all, and which photos to include and which ones to not. I was trying to avoid just that straight line of having them, all three together, and then I was hard. So then this is what I settle on, and I actually really like how this little layout comes out, obviously because this is the one that I chose. But so I'm just using, this is just a, a dictionary from the dollar store that I just randomly take out a couple pages here and there. And the craft paper that I'm not using cardstock because I've noticed that when I use cardstock, A, it's a different kind of color, and B, it's pretty thick. So I decided I've kept during quarantine and during a lot of online shopping, we did a lot of Amazon purchases, and they normally pack the bag inside or pack the boxes inside with this craft paper, and that's what I decided to use. So you'll see that I will be using my click together stamps, and this is what I'll be using for most of the lettering and stuff. So here's the quote that I chose. It says, "Life's not about expecting, hoping, and wishing. It's about doing, being, and becoming." And this is a quote from Mike Dooley. And again, I just got it off of Pinterest. I saved it and added it into my Pinterest board for the photos and quotes and stuff that I want to use. So here is my monthly calendar. My monthly calendar, I think I use 6x6 squares. I like when they are a full square instead of, I know a lot of other people tend to do 5x6 or just not a full square, but I like when they're even. On the corner here or along the sidebar here, I added top 3. I screwed up on the 3, but that's okay because it's stamping, and I like sometimes when it looks messy. And then I added in Insta and YouTube for my stats, and I screwed up and added 4 lines, not realizing before I used to kind of put them all together, but I didn't. I just like doing a start and finish, but so to fix it, I just wrote the word start and then put the number on the opposite line. So that's what I decided to do to kind of cover up that mistake, and you don't even know that it was a mistake. And I, again, using my stamping, I put in, and I mean, the tricky thing about doing I'm used to, for most of last year, I was using a B5 size notebook, which is a lot bigger. So my monthlies, I had a lot of room to do like these little collages that I like doing. But now using an A5, it's a lot smaller. So I don't really, and most of the photos, because they're Pinterest photos, most of them are, portrait sizing or portrait style instead of a landscape style. So none of them would really fit here because I don't like when the photo goes into the month, just in case I have to write anything on that day. So I was only able to use these little log photos, and I just cut it in half so it wasn't so big. added in some washi tape, and already moving on to the next page. My next page is my money and like my money stuff trackers. I meant to put in an expense tracker so that I can summarize it and put it into my yearly setup. And if you missed my yearly setup, I can leave it linked here in the cards. But I set up a lot of my 2022 yearly setup was like, I guess, financial and like budget focused. But I had about 4 spreads that I did money related. And one of them being I wanted to group, you know, the type, you know, what I'm using, how much money I'm spending on fast food and clothing and, you know, makeup, or I haven't actually even figured out which categories I'm using yet, but I want to, you know, track what we're spending our money on to see where we need to improve and where our money actually is going. But I failed to put that in for this setup. So I think what I'll do is maybe I have like a commonplace notebook that I like jot down all of our like house stuff, or just, you know, when I'm on a phone call and I need to make some notes while I'm on that phone call, or just, you know, little lists to kind of do throughout the weekend. I like to have a commonplace notebook, and it's just a notebook from Dollarama, and it's cheap, but so I can kind of scribble in it, make some plans, and then transfer over whatever I want into my bullet journal or whatever journal I am using. So, or whatever journal I need to put that information into. So I think I might just do January in there and summarize it, and then move forward with like February and stuff in my bullet journal, but we'll see. I might actually even start a separate journal altogether for just collections, so that I can, you know, maybe I'll even start a money journal, because I know when you track a lot of finances, and if I end like all of the yearly setup stuff that I did, if I, you know, in a couple of months move to a new journal, then I have to always refer back to this one and then find out where my money stuff is. So I'll see how this one's going. I'll see, you know, how many more months I can actually fit into this notebook. But maybe, you know, once I've filled this notebook, I'll just either transfer everything to a budgeting, or I will just, I'm not sure yet. I'm still going to decide. But anyway, so on my money tracker, I know I've moved on now, but on my money tracker, it was, I wanted to track my bills when they're paid, any notes that I want to do, sinking funds, how much money is going in and out of my sinking funds. And then again, I'll total it for the my yearly setup spreads that I did. So moving on to, I mean, I know I've already moved on in the video, but so as you see on the left-hand side, I have always done a memory spread, gratitude kind of log, just, you know, writing down whatever I want, what happened in that day on just like one little line. And because I set this up, I think it was around, maybe it was about a week ago that I actually set this up now. But that's why I only did for the first 6 days. I didn't mind having just a short time there, or a short spot to write, because I had already, you know, those days had already passed, so I didn't want to back plan too much. So yeah, so then, I really like how that one came out. But so I'm working on my mood board for January, and I always do mood board at least since I think April of last year was the first time I did a mood board. And when I did it, I fell in love with it, as I've said in mostly all of my setup videos. And so I feel like it is important for me to constantly do a mood board in all of my setups. It just sets a tone. It makes, I don't know, I really love looking back at it. But after I finish here, I just do a little bit more doodles here, and I'm already now moving on to my weekly spreads. And like I said, this is late, as you know, I'm recording this the 17th of January, and I'm hoping this is again going to go out tomorrow, but I just skipped a week. I didn't even bother putting in the first or whenever the 3rd to the 9th. I didn't even bother putting in that weekly spread at all, because it had already passed and I didn't want a blank page at all. But because I didn't include that spread, now there's only 3 weeks that I'm planning in January, and I have been doing 1 week on one page. I don't generally do double page weekly layouts. So, but I couldn't leave it uneven and I didn't want just a blank page. So what I've decided to do to try out for January to see is I am still going through with my, 1-page weekly spreads for this week and then next week, or no, this coming week is the last one. And then next week, the last week of January, I'm actually doing as a double page. So I'll see how it is going to work. I'm actually doing it more of a, I guess, kind of journal style. There's a few styles that I've seen on Pinterest and I love them. I love the look of them. So I'm kind of using them as inspiration to see how it goes with leaving more room for maybe journaling at the end of the day, or just kind of writing what happened or my feelings or thoughts or something, and kind of see how that works for that week and see if I like it or not. I don't really have, I've always liked these. There's a lot of talk on my Instagram and stuff right now for morning pages and that kind of thing. And I definitely like the idea of it. So I really want to try and do it myself, but I don't know if I want. I've already started a different journal in actually a happy planner for my like YouTube content related, and hoping to get my small business up and running again, but we'll see. So I'm having that as completely separate, and I don't like the idea of having 7 different journals and planners and stuff as my lineup, because that to me is just overwhelming. But I also don't want to burn through a notebook so quickly that I'm going to have that many notebooks anyways, because I'm going to go through them so much quicker by putting everything together. So we'll see how this week goes by when I fill it in this way. I've actually designated spots for each day, which normally I don't. I just kind of jot down. I'm a list person, so normally I write down a lot of lists, but I can write lists anywhere I want. But I can't believe, again, I've talked through this whole thing, but yeah, my January setup is all done. So I want to thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I hope you like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of the things. It means so much to me and helps this channel grow. And I will see you very, very soon in my next video. Bye.